Hi guys, I'm Blazescribe back with more Genshin Impact. Today I'm going to be talking about Hu Tao. Personally, I am saving for future banners, but for those who are interested, I've gathered some information for you guys. I hope it will help you guys decide whether to pull for Hu Tao or not. Let's start with the pros and cons. For the pros, Hu Tao has a very high burst damage against single target enemies. Hu Tao's performance isn't affected by a long team swap rotation. Hu Tao can also run a non-healer team, the first carry that can run with or without Bennett. And Hu Tao has a very easy energy management. As for the cons, she is reliant on 100% Xingqiu uptime. She also has a terrible AoE. At C0, Hu Tao has a harsh stamina management issue. The shield from Zhongli will help negate the need for dodging. At C0, Hu Tao also has no choice but to jump cancel her N1 C strings to maximize her DPS output. Moving on, I'm going to talk about Hu Tao's niche and realistic expectation. As a niche, Hu Tao's ultimate can currently be used similar to Child's ultimate for speedruns. It's just that it requires more setup and the damage is lower than Child's, but it is faster than Mona. Hu Tao also operates well in low HP conditions, so she is a carry that can reasonably run with just Zhongli and healing from Xingqiu. Realistically, the reason why Hu Tao isn't a hyper carry is because she has some downtime. It means she is considered to be a conventional carry, a carry that needs to rotate through supports to increase her viability. On top of that, having a shield user seems to be very important for Hu Tao because the rapid strings require a non-stop input. Getting interrupted halfway will be a major DPS loss. With Hu Tao, it's likely then that you want to run her with Zhongli or a very stacked Diona. I want to touch on a very hotly debated topic, that is Hu Tao versus Diluc, because the two of them tend to compete for the same spot, Pyro DPS carry. Between the two of them, Hu Tao has a better burst capability plus better damage ceiling. But on a 20-second rotation, the damage is similar with Diluc coming on top. Diluc is still the character that has the highest base floor, very flexible, and has an easy stamina management. Hu Tao's performance will suffer hugely in AoE situations unlike Diluc. Currently, Staff of Homa is better than Wolf's Gravestone, but a 5-star Greatsword with crit stat is bound to come. Because it did come for Jade Cutter for sword, Homa came for polearm, and Skyward Hub existed since launch for bow. Also, the reason why Hu Tao has a higher damage ceiling is because she will do more damage when her HP is below 50%. Moving on to builds, there are two builds flying around. The first one is a 4-set Crimson Witch and the second one is a 4-set Thundering Fury. The set choice is dependent upon the kind of team you will be running. The first one has the highest damage ceiling, relying upon Melt and Vaporize. The second set choice involves having Official and Xingqiu in the same team. For either build, the Sand slot is the most interesting bit to talk about. Let me first talk about the stat priority for Hu Tao. Crit, EM, HP, Attack. The reason why Attack has such a low priority for Hu Tao is because she gets a lot of attack from her HP, so diversifying the stats by adding more EM or HP is better than stacking Attack. Basically, if you use a weapon like Dragon's Bane where you already have EM in the substat, you want to focus on a different main stat, HP or Attack. HP sense is better, but the difference between them is around 5%, so if you have an attack sense that has an amazing roll, you should put that on Hu Tao. For the cup and the headgear, it will be similar to other carries, so you want to get Pyro cup and critical headgear. Moving on to weapons, here is what the performances are like. The reason why Jade doesn't perform greatly for Hu Tao is because it's very easy for her attack to be capped from her HP, so what she needs are other stats, EM, elemental damage, and crit. Obviously, Staff of Homa is the best in slot weapon for Hu Tao, but as far as the 4-star options are concerned, I recommend either going for Dragon's Bane, Deathmatch, or Lithic Spear if you're always accompanied with at least 2 other characters from Li Yue. Ignore weapons with ER substats because Hu Tao doesn't have energy management issue. In fact, her ultimate is generally considered a DPS loss. Use it only when you are in an emergency. This may be the hardest quandary for Hu Tao if you are free to play because all of the craftable weapon options are bad for you. You can either get Black Cliff from the shop or a Deathmatch from the Battle Pass to get an acceptable baseline standard. Lastly, I'll discuss team comp options. There are 3 approaches to Hu Tao: Melt, Vape, Turbo. Melt has the highest damage ceiling, but you are locked into 3 characters, Hu Tao, Kea, Xingqiu. The last slot is a flex slot. You can either add in more cryo like Diona, Chong, Ganyu, or anemo characters for Viridescent Venera, or a shielder like Zhongli. Vape has the easiest setup, requiring you to run Hu Tao and Xingqiu as the base setup. The other two are flex slots. I recommend running a shielder like Diona or Zhongli with an anemo character for Viridescent Venera. Lastly, the turbo setup. The minimum requirement is 3 characters, Hu Tao, Fischl and Xingqiu, with the last slot being flexible, either Beidou for more AoE or Zhongli for shield. Before I end the video, I want to add a few gameplay tips. The general consensus for the strongest Hu Tao string currently is N1C, that is normal 1 followed by a charge attack. If you are serious about maining Hu Tao, you're going to have to master the art of animation cancelling. If you are below C1, you have to resort to jump cancel. When done correctly, you can perform at least 8 jump cancels per elemental skill. You can significantly cancel the animation to a point where you almost don't see any animation on her charge attack. If you are not at C1 and you want to do a dash cancel, you can only do a maximum of 5 dash cancels before you run out of stamina. The reason why her C1 is so strong is because the dash cancel is stronger than the jump cancel, and you can do up to at least 10 dash cancels per elemental skill if you are at C1. Another reason why it's so strong is because it's not just because the damage modifier on her charge attack is huge, it is that it has no internal cooldown on the elemental application. It means that you can always use it to proc, melt or vaporize. So finally, the TLDR. For Hu Tao, her single target is similar or better performance than Diluc. She has a terrible AoE, good Constellation 1 investment, more reliant on shield plus CC. The most annoying aspect of Hu Tao is stamina management, so if you're okay with that, her glaring weakness is in the AoE department. If you already have a Pyro carry, do not pull for Hu Tao. We only have one Xingqiu in the game. Pyro carries are reliant on Xingqiu. If you're happy with her caveats, then by all means pull for Hu Tao. Her performance is good for a burst carry, but her poor AoE performance can be devastating in future Abyss contents, and it is highly likely that we'll get a better 5-star great sword in the future. In the current Abyss setup, Hu Tao's weakness is not a big deal because you have many situations where you're only facing 2 enemies, but she will perform worse where there are more enemies at the same time. That's all from me. I've been BladeScribe, and if you find this video useful, please leave a like and do subscribe for more Genshin Impact content. Have a great one, guys. Bye bye.